Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I'm joined today by Kris Darby, SVP of Operations at Western Equipment Finance. Thanks for joining me, Kris.
Thanks for having me, Jesse. I'm excited to be here on your Fireside Chat.
Now, it's great to have you on the program. It's been a pleasure knowing you throughout my couple decades in equipment finance, and looking forward to learning more about your background, Kris. So,
Oh, thank you.
I guess just starting off, are you in Washington or are you freezing somewhere?
That's a very good question. I'm currently in Washington, so I'm just drowning right now, but it's not exceptionally cold. But since Western is primarily located in North Dakota, I do spend a lot of time in North Dakota, and we'll be there shortly. I'll have to pull my snow boots and everything out of the back of my closet for that first winter trip of the year.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it's a beautiful place, but it's also like when you sit there and I saw like the temperature last night, and that was like Chicago, like during that football game, and you're just like, oh yeah, no, I'm glad I live in Arizona at this point.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, excellent. Well, Kris, for the people who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and career in equipment finance?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm Kris Darby. I've been in equipment finance and lease for 34 years now. I've been at Western for 16 of those years. So I've been spent some time at some other bank-owned equipment and leasing companies. But it's looking back, when these kinds of preparation for these sort of chats always reminds me of how I got into this industry and how long ago it was and how much has changed. And that's always a good exercise to go through occasionally.
How did you get into the industry?
Yeah, that's a great question because we always joke about that when you're going through college and you're looking at careers, equipment finance just doesn't jump out at people. And I'm like many where I got into the industry kind of by accident. If you think back, this will be way long ago for you, but in the 90s, when jobs were made available, you found them in the newspaper. And so my very first career in equipment finance and lease was submitting a resume to somebody at MetLife Capital who was looking for a customer service rep. And I had just gotten my Bachelor of Arts degree from University of Washington and had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And I thought that sounds like a good place to start. I recognized MetLife. I liked Snoopy, and it really was nothing more than that. And once I started, it is an industry that's constantly changing, is always challenging us to learn new things. Tax laws are changing, and that is what has kept me here for 34 years because it's never boring. I can assure you of that. And that first position in customer service, really, my goal was to learn. I wasn't looking to climb a ladder. I didn't have my sights set on some corner office with a C-suite title, nothing like that. I just wanted to learn. And so I was the master of transferring departments. I'd look for lateral movements, opportunities in other areas, spent time in credit, collections, documentation, syndications, and just started building my knowledge. And then promotional opportunities started coming because I had this good base of knowledge in many areas. And that has served me well and is kind of my biggest piece of advice to new entrants is don't be so focused on a better title and more pay. Just be eager to learn, be a sponge, and the rest will come. And that's served me well in my career.
No, I mean you hit on so many topics there, and yeah, I mean be a sponge. Um,
Hmm.
Sounds to me like you put together your own training program. I wasn't sure if MetLife had kind of a like a structured training program because when you talk to a lot of people that came out of like the GE, back in the day, where it's like they had that structured, rigid training where it was like, no, you're going to go do customer service. No, you're going to go do credit. No, you're going to go do collections. Sounds to me
Right.
like you were just like you took the initiative and just kind of did it on your own.
Yeah, that type of rotation program I think is amazing, and it's not something that I ever had at any of the companies that I worked for. But that doesn't mean you can't forge your own training path. Just keep your eyes open. And the key is never be afraid to ask questions. Even if you think it's a dumb question, that's part of learning. And it also shows people you're interested, invested in your company. You want to know the answers to these questions even if it's outside your little silo area, you know, look at the financials, ask questions. That makes you an eager team member with high potential that can be served well in many different areas.
Absolutely. And what I found in management teams, especially in this industry, is when you ask those questions, people are willing to invest the time in giving you, like, no, this is why we do this. So,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
all right. So started off at MetLife. Was where was that office? Was that in Seattle?
Yes, so that was in just outside of Seattle, east of Seattle
Uh,
in Bellevue. They were eventually purchased by GE Capital. So I have a very similar story. I think all roads lead back to GE in some respects. But
uh,
yeah, it's kind of fun to think back to when you and I met, which was many years ago and couple companies ago for you, and same with me. And look how we've met, and now we see each other routinely at ELFA events, and it's just so fun to be able to, think of peers and people, colleagues as friends over time when you've known each other this long. So I kind of just moved through different bank organizations as a result of layoffs or mergers and acquisitions, and ended up with this mentor who has just been a wonderful person in my life. You know her, Lori Bakke, and she had deep roots in North Dakota. And when we were both coming out of our jobs in 2008 with the big recession, and we're kind of looking for our next landing spot, she kindly brought me along with her and introduced me to the folks at Western, and that has been just a real blessing for me in many aspects of my life. But joining Western has just been great. And I've been with Western longer than any other company. So I think that says something.
no, it's fantastic. I do miss Lori. But has she been retired for a couple of years now? Good for her.
Yes.
Selfishly, I would love to see her come somewhat, but I think at this point here, she's probably been there.
We keep her involved from a board standpoint. So she's still deeply involved with Western, but don't get to work with her day to day, which is too bad. But that I'm so happy for her to be. I mean, that's our goal, right? Let's all retire and be able to enjoy life after equipment finance and leasing. Leave a legacy with the industry, and encourage new people coming in.
No, no, absolutely. So I'm gonna shift gears and go right into. Do you mind just kind of introducing Western Equipment Finance? How long you guys have been around, different markets you serve?
Sure, I would love to. So Western Equipment Finance has been around since 1990, so we've been around for a while, mostly on the small ticket vendor origination side. We are a division of Western State Bank, and Western State has been around since 1902 was when it purchased its first branch in Webster, North Dakota. So really deep roots in the community. We're known as your community bank, your hometown bank, and that's the kind of service that we like to provide to our bank customers. We've got, I'm going to look at my notes so I don't mess
Yeah,
this
you're
up.
fine. You're fine.
But we do have branches in North Dakota and 7 branches in Arizona. So we're making a big play in Arizona that's been very successful for us. Again, with that hometown feel and those North Dakota customers who spend a lot of time in Arizona during those
Yeah,
cold winter months. That's really been advantageous for us, and they have familiarity with Western State Bank. So as a division of the bank, we're funded internally, and we have such an amazing amount of support from our board of directors, our CEO of the bank, who understands the benefit of offering equipment finance and leasing options to customers. So that's been extremely beneficial to us. And we're an ESOP company, which I love.
okay.
And it really drives the way we operate and make decisions, because we may be looking at kind of a tough program to put together, but there's some profit element to us where we need to get creative. And even though it might be more work, we see the downstream benefit, and we have that ownership mentality, like go ESOP, let's make this program happen. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that's been really exciting to be part of an ESOP company.
Sure. I mean, more risk, more reward. But it's also the other side of it too, where it's like, okay, well, what does this mean? And when it directly
Right.
impacts the employees and their retirement and everything else. No, I like
Exactly.
that. I like that.
Yes.
And then from a location perspective, when I moved to Arizona in 2010, you guys have that Chandler branch, and it was like 2 miles away from my home,
Right.
where I moved here for. So very familiar with
And
that brick and mortar location.
yes, and now several locations in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. We typically go in where there's a prior bank location that is closed, and we can snatch up that location. We have a lot of people that do a deep dive into demographics, deposit opportunities, and so we've just been very smart about the locations we've chosen. We do have two actual brick and mortar locations for Western Equipment Finance in Devils Lake, North Dakota, and Marshall, Minnesota. So we have employees nationally. We sell nationally. We're in every state. But we actually have employees working in office in those two locations. So that's fun for me to kind of do that little road trip and get to see folks at both offices.
It's a little bit hard to get to at times.
Neither are especially easy to get to, but but we figure it out.
That's perfectly fair. It's amazing. I guess the banking institutions in the state of North Dakota.
Yes,
It's,
they're
it's surprising. I
Fargo's
mean,
a big hub. Yes.
yeah, I mean, you have what, Bell, you have Choice, you guys, and I'm sure
Yep.
I'm missing some others, but
Yep.
wow,
I know.
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Get to North Dakota. It's a secret.
And then I guess from a ticket size perspective, Kris, so you guys all over the board, any particular asset classes you guys focus on?
Yeah, we like to say that we're not, Western is not a generalist. We actually have about 10 segments, pretty large segments where we have sales reps with expertise, and that's really how we get into segments where we don't like to just pick a random segment and go all in. You know, we want to understand what does it look like? What do the assets look like? What's the customer credit quality? You know, what kind of products do they need? We go through that whole exercise. Our top segments are lawn and tree management, waste, construction. That's really where we're heavy on the small ticket side, but we've gotten more into middle market over the last few years, and we are into family entertainment centers. We're into franchise opportunities, you know, both food and beauty service franchises. Um, we're in commercial laundry, and those ticket sizes can be pretty large to outfit a new location.
Sure.
So we try and find kind of unique niche segments where we can provide value and be their kind of their one-stop go-to shop.
No, I mean that's perfect. Plus, you understand the assets, you understand the residuals. It just
Right.
allows you guys to price things better
Yes.
than the traditional generalist who'd say, "Oh, I'll just do everything." And it's like,
Correct.
how are you supporting this vertical? You really don't.
Correct. Yes.
Excellent. Well, and then running operations, I guess, based on your background, customer service, collections, credit, you basically understand the ins and outs of how things work.
Yes, yes. So I have my hands in a lot of different areas, primarily on kind of front end app flow through the process, through to documentation, funding, audit, compliance, syndications if we want to sell off exposure. We have our credit group that's kind of resides in a different area, reporting directly through the bank, and then we have our credit and collections that's all also reporting up through the bank. And there's some shared resources on in many different areas with the bank. So I think we have a great process that ensures that our vendors and customers are getting priority treatment, which should be our focus always. It's, their customers are what are coming back to you for repeat business. We have a very high percentage of repeat customers, so we take a lot of care in how we service those accounts. So I like being involved and having my hand in a lot of different areas because my days are never the same. And that's what keeps me challenged and interested. It's, just when you think you might know a few things, something new comes across your desk and that's kind of fun. We've really had a big focus on my side, on the ops side, on technology initiatives. Um, you know, business is a little bit flat, and I'm sure we're going to get in more into industry and kind of
Yeah.
some of the headwinds we're facing. But where we can then spend some time is on efficiency gains. So as the market maybe settles in a bit, we're prepared, and we've gotten rid of as many manual processes as possible. We're spending a lot of time around data warehousing and digging into performance, having a view into deep dive into the performance and trends before they become a problem. And so that's been our focus for a few years. Dashboarding. So we're not looking at we don't have printouts of physical reports, but what are my key risk indicators that every morning I've got a dashboard I can look at and know where to focus my time. So that's been a huge initiative for us. It's ongoing, making progress. Missing deadlines. It's typical technology stuff, right? It takes longer, it takes more money, it takes more time, but in the end, we're doing what we need to do. We're looking at AI. Can we leverage any skill sets we have in-house? Are there repetitive processes that we can utilize AI? So that's become a big focus as well.
Big.
I mean,
Yeah.
you and I spent quite a bit of time not too long ago talking about this very thing. And
Yeah, no, I mean it's big, and I'm glad that you have the foresight. You and your leadership team have the foresight to understand where it's like, okay, hey, let's not be concerned about a plateau or a flattening. Let's take advantage of it, make these investments because it's only going to be for a period of time, and then you don't want to really do that when the wheels.
yeah,
You're trying to keep the car on the road because it's going too
right.
fast.
The wheels
So,
start getting a little wobbly, and yeah,
so
steering wheel shaking.
kudos to you guys for having that foresight, because unfortunately a lot of people don't want to make that investment until it's beyond almost like beyond the point of no return, where it's like,
Right,
really, we're doing this
right.
now.
Yeah. That's, we did that right, but we don't do everything right. There's some things that hit you in the face that you never in a
Yeah,
million years thought about. And
of course.
all we can do is do our best to identify things as early, start socializing it, getting buy-in, getting folks excited, that kind of
No,
thing.
I mean it's perfect. And I guess from a leadership perspective, when you ask your team to do things, it's nothing that you aren't willing or haven't done yourself.
Absolutely.
That's very admirable, Kris, for sure. And then in regards to some of your dashboards, based on the asset classes that you guys are in, you understand there's could be potentially peaks and valleys, and that's probably why you are in those different things just from a diversification
Right.
perspective.
Right. I mean, really, COVID was a great lesson to us because, with these 10 segments and some diversity, where we saw, say, our audiovisual Hollywood sort of segment die during COVID and the resulting
Still,
strikes,
still dead almost.
Sounds like
we
it's gonna
saw,
come back, right?
we saw construction and lawn and tree and waste continue to do great business,
Sure.
well-performing business. So I think that was a good lesson. Diversity pays off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know we're kind of skirting around kind of like the status of the industry right now, so I guess we'll just kind of continue on that if
That
that's
sounds good.
okay. So
Sure.
you've been through a couple economic cycles in your 10 year. I guess going into 2026, are we cautiously optimistic, just optimistic? I know we turn on the TV and we hear some news. It's like, what's going on today?
Yes.
I try to
Box out as much noise as possible, just because it's like this is really impacting me right
Right, right. That's a good way to approach it, or it can get really overwhelming. And
yeah,
and we're dealing with things that we don't have a precedent for. We don't have a history of. So we can't look to history to help guide us. We're just sort of winging it. And I think that in terms of confidence levels, we remain pretty confident in the industry. The ELFA puts out a great monthly confidence index. Western is part of that. Each month we submit kind of our thoughts about the state of the industry. And the results were right in line with our responses. Um, Fairly flat, fair economy, not excellent, but not terrible either. Fair. We know we've got some headwinds ahead of us, but we got to just keep our eye on the prize and keep moving forward. And we exceeded budget in 2025. We didn't think that going into 25, so that creates some optimism that if we could handle that, we can shine in 26 too. It's good. It takes a little discipline to stay focused on credit underwriting policy. Let's not go crazy. If you have 1 month of down app volume, it'll be okay. And so that's really where our focus is just stay focused, keep forging ahead, keep moving the train forward. It's going to be okay. And not getting too much wrapped up in the politics, because that makes decision making very difficult.
100%. I mean, stick to the process. You guys have been around in what, 123 years? No, I know the equipment finance division hasn't been, you know.
30, 30 going on 40 years. Yeah.
So you've been through several cycles. Just
Yeah.
no reason to panic, you know. Let's not be
Yeah.
too cowboy. It's hard to
Mhm.
do that too, also, when you know, have to report to a bank.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's good. It's always nice to hear that. You know, because I visit people, as you know, throughout the year, and I always like to ask the questions. Hey, how's that flow going? Hey, how are your delinquencies? How's all these things going? And just
Yeah.
ask those, because it kind of gives you a good pulse. I mean, here in Arizona, I don't know the last time you've been here, but construction's everywhere. It's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Yep. Apartments and commercial space and all of it. Yeah.
Everything. I think Queen Creek, where I live, is like one of the fastest growing municipalities in the
Mhm.
country. Which
Wow.
disappointed. It's like you move out here and it's like people stay away.
Right.
No, not gonna happen.
I mean, and then it can be so different, like to your point, just from a state to state standpoint, because here in Washington, we've got, virtually no home building going on right now. The market's real stagnant, not a lot of buying or selling happening. So it's just interesting how diverse it can be, just region to region.
Well, but with the Seahawks and how well they're doing, I don't think people really care, do they? All things considered.
You know, I held back a lot today because I was going to go full Seahawks. I
It's
mean,
okay. I'm not gonna be disappointed now. The only thing is, though, is we might have to make a prediction, because I don't think this is gonna air till the second Wednesday of February. So at that
okay.
point there, you know, you guys are either gonna have two more wins or not two more wins.
Oh, well,
So
we're going to be playing in the Super Bowl, so I can give you that prediction right now. We're going to beat the Patriots. So done. There we go.
Okay. All right. Chris said it. Is there a final score that you want to throw out there too, just so we can see your level
Oh
of
gosh.
foresight here?
Gosh. I don't want to put a score out there. I don't want to jinx
has
anything.
it has to be a blowout, because that was a Super Bowl you guys won, was a blowout. If it's
Yep.
close,
Yep.
then
I just another first drive like we have with the 49ers. We're off to the races.
it's like, okay, this game got over before it started. Nice. It's fantastic, and thanks for sharing your sentiments on where things are. I think
Yeah.
it's very much in line with even some independents that I'm working with now. They're all kind of like, okay, let's just see. I mean, there's some good things that happened from a legislation perspective last year that leads to more optimism, right?
Yeah.
But there's also just like, you just don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if others have felt this way, but it's really hard to get peer performance data unless you've got a rapport, or, you're networking with a colleague who wants to throw out, well, our delinquency's running at this amount. It's really hard to get benchmarking data. And that's one of the things we found really helpful with the ELFA and the foundation is, we're an active participant with the annual survey of equipment finance activity. We actually load the results into a data mining tool so that we can then provide benchmarking results to our management team, comparing ours to the CFA activity results.
Right.
That's been extremely helpful to know, like even from a cost of funds, average yield, you can get that kind of average data that I don't know anywhere else in our industry it can be found. And we found that really helpful. And to see kind of what the trending in some of the vertical markets are.
No, and that's another great point that I wanted to get into. Was within this industry, typically, even though you sit there, and I'm sure a lot of those results are kind of anonymous, you can pretty much tell who else is there, and even if they're
Mhm.
your competitor, you can pick up the phone and say, "Look, we're struggling with this. And I'd say 9.9 times out of 10, people are going to sit there and be like, yeah, this is what we're saying too, even though
Yeah.
you might just lost the deal to them or you might have beat them on something. There's
Yeah.
like people are still willing to share
Mhm.
best practices.
And that is in a nutshell is why networking, to be able to pick up the phone. And I've got those colleagues too that we've sat on committees together that we've gotten to know that I'll see their name on a UCC filing of a common customer, and it's like, what do what's the workout that's going on your end? Can we partner together maybe to get a better outcome? And so just having those contacts is just critical.
That's where they sit there and they mess with you. They're like, what are you talking about? We've never had an issue with this
Yeah,
person.
paid current with us.
Um, do you remember your first, I guess probably it was at the time, ELA conference?
I do. It was in Chicago because this was very exciting to be able to travel to a big city like Chicago. Yeah, so I remember that
Okay.
as a young person in the industry. My first conference was a one of those um, leasing workshops, and it was really a 3 day training on the industry. What's the difference between a lease and a loan? What's the tax differences? How do you sell a loan versus a lease? All that kind of just base knowledge. And that was so fun to kind of dip my toe into socializing with and networking with peers. And
Sure.
and that was a great way to kind of understand what does the ELFA do for the industry? Like who are they and why do we need them? And from there it just kind of exploded. And now I consider ELFA conferences as a critical part of my role every year. It's not where's the location? Because that will determine if I'm going to go. I'm going. It doesn't matter where the locate. I mean, it always helps when, Marco Island was nice, right?
Yeah, it
Uh,
helps. I mean, it does help when you sit there and it's like, oh, do I really have to go there? But then again, like I look at these like beautiful places that they have, and I'm like, great, I never left like the things at all. Like, oh,
right.
you get to go to all these cool places. I'm like,
Yeah, I stare at the pool. See
Yeah.
everyone else
Yeah.
between meetings.
Yeah. The seminars aren't typically around the pool. I mean, they're in a conference room to your point, but
however,
I've learned though, you just have to be intentional where it's like, hey, we're taking this meeting by the pool.
I
And,
see your approach.
and after a while, someone will bite.
Oh, yeah. Your attendance is off the charts when you schedule them that way, right?
So your first, I guess your first gathering was one of those principles of leasing workshops.
Yes. Yes. And now the annual conference is really beneficial. I mean, it's something we don't miss. The funding conference is a critical. I mean, we really do business at that funding conference. It's not just reconnecting with colleagues.
I see you. I think we're two ships passing every time. It's like,
Yes.
hey, there she goes, there he goes, and it's just back and
Yeah.
forth
It's
chaos.
like
It's
a
like,
fist bunch during, as you're walking by a fist bump, yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
and I love that conference. And we're really at Western now focusing on getting some of the our newer employees to these ELFA events and
yeah,
encouraging with the Converge conference. Some of the employees that have future potential, leadership potential at Western, we're getting them involved in those key
perfect.
new entrants to the industry meetups and really encouraging that involvement.
No, I mean that's perfect because as you know, there's the aging out of some
Yeah,
people in this industry are it's happening. I think of all
yeah,
the people that were retiring towards the end of last year, like there's at least a couple dozen, and I think
yep,
that's only going to get more over the next 3 to 5 years. So kudos to you and the leadership team there for putting people out there to see why you and I have both been in this industry for a couple decades.
right. Yeah, yeah, totally agree.
Um, Next question I was going to have ask you is just kind of like women in senior leadership roles
Hmm.
and throughout your tenure. kind of like where things are at. I mean, I think you've been going to the annual for a while.
Yep.
You've been going to some of these other events. I would say the diversity of everyone. I suppose the equipment. I mean, it's still kind of like the Chicago event. It's what guys in blue suits. Let's just face it, right? Gray
Yeah.
hair. I mean, gray hair, blue suit. That's just the demographic. But
Right.
when you look at like the ELFA annual last year and everything else, how does that kind of make you feel from an industry perspective, Kris?
Yeah. I uh I have a very interesting kind of thought around women in leasing because I was blessed with having two amazing women in leadership that were mentors of mine and were very strong women in very high level positions. And being able to watch them navigate the industry was so helpful, um, because you've just got to you've got to move past gender. We're here we're here to do business. We're here in this to learn from each other. And so I just never considered myself at a disadvantage. I just felt part of the industry. And so maybe that speaks to our industry that is very welcoming to diversity and inclusion. And the ELFA has really put a huge focus on this, long overdue and needed, I think. And so every year since, the 90s, I have seen just more and more women, and now women in leadership roles, sitting in on the board of the ELFA, and in making moves and decisions at very high levels. And it just makes me so happy to see that. But I want that for any gender, right? And so I don't put a lot of focus on just women in leasing. It's how can we collectively create a diverse environment, including others, and supporting and encouraging diversity at the highest levels of businesses.
Well said. I have nothing to add to that comment other than just well said, and that's just a refreshing, I guess, viewpoint there, Kris. So thank you.
I know that I'm lucky. I know that my experience in having two women mentors is not usual. And so I do know how lucky I am to have been able to see that and visualize myself in those roles. It didn't seem far-fetched for me. It seemed like a very real possibility that I could be in those at those levels.
Perfect. Perfect. And just kind of shifting gears again, like I ask everyone who comes on the program to give me a fun fact about themselves. So, what do you enjoy doing, Kris, outside of work?
That's a great question because we tend to kind of identify ourselves by what we do during the day, right? And so it's like, well, what do I do when I'm not working? Um, I guess a fun fact about me is that I love to read. I am a big reader. And I
Okay.
think it goes back to my dad was a reader, and growing up, he liked to get away from the house by going to the library, and I would tag along with him. And my friends would see me at the library and go, "What were you doing at the library?" And I thought, well, that's a weird question. I was reading. I was finding books to read. Like, I don't know, what were you doing? Um, and I guess my genre is more historical fiction.
Okay.
So I always have a book going. First time I opened my Kindle on January 1st, I got an alert, a congratulations that I had read every day for the last 360 days. Um, so
How'd that make you feel?
I was so proud of myself.
That's
I mean,
fantastic. That's awesome.
sometimes it's one page before I fall asleep. Sometimes I get a whole chapter in, but that is just a part of my life that's not even, it's non-negotiable. It's just what I need. Kind of takes my focus away from work a little bit, and I can get myself immersed in the struggles in a different era and a different generation of people. And uh, that's just what I enjoy to do outside of work. I don't know a fun fact about you. I hate to turn, I don't know if I'm supposed to turn the tables, but
Oh,
oh,
there's
I'm sorry.
several. Oh no, no, no.
Um, I don't know if you know, my first job out of college was in retail.
I
So
didn't know that.
I had an internship my junior year in West Virginia at JC Penney.
That's amazing.
Apparently, I did well enough where they called me up October when the season ended. They're like, "What store do you want?" I want the biggest one. So, kid from upstate New York, West Virginia. My first job was in the Bronx. And
Wow.
2 months in, they made me Division 1 manager, which is women's accessories.
I love
So
that.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
great.
it's different, but yeah, that's fun.
Well, maybe I have a second fun fact. Now, your story brings my first job was in my very first job after college before MetLife, when my parents said you can't do nothing, so you better find something, was retail also.
Okay.
I worked for Nordstrom, and I was a miserable salesperson. I was the one saying, "Don't get that. That doesn't look good on you." So so I quickly moved
Hey,
into
they appreciate that honesty, though,
right,
right? I mean, is it
right.
the dress that makes me? No, it's not.
So they quickly saw that I wasn't going to be a good salesperson for them and moved me into the cash room where I was balancing all the money from the cash registers
Oh,
of the night
okay.
before.
Yeah.
And that was that job. And because of the Nordstrom name is why MetLife saw my resume out of hundreds of others and figured if she worked at Nordstrom, she must have a decent ability to serve our customers, which has always been Nordstrom's, um, you know, um, reputation. And so
No, I
that,
mean, when I started J.C. Penney, like the store manager was like, go to Nordstrom's and I want you to see their level of expertise and customer care. And that's the level that I want in a store. And I was just
that's
like,
great. I
okay,
love that.
that's fantastic. Now,
Thanks.
granted, OSG, the first company I was with, didn't hire me because I worked for J.C. Penney. I didn't get that thing. Anyhow, it was a good it was a good thing where it's like, okay, retail, biggest store, uh, in the Christmas time. I'm like, yeah, I did it a couple years, and I'm like, okay, I got it.
But what an experience in working with people. I
Oh, I
mean,
mean, basically, I had like graduated in May. By August, I had 53 people working for me.
wow, that's
So
incredible.
I was I was different from them. But anyhow, we had a lot of fun. I think we turned in we were the number one division women's merchandise in the entire country entire company. So just
Wow.
having fun doing that stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I love learning that about you.
Yeah. Um, and I guess my last question I have for you, Kris, is why should someone want to do business with Kris Darby and Western Equipment Finance?
Well, the one thing I haven't mentioned, which is really the key to Western and how we run our belief system around how we run our business, and it's our core values. And this isn't something that we, hang up as a plaque and then we don't ever look at them or follow them. It is the basis for the way that we operate. We we actually rate employees during their performance review around the 8 core values. So what are some examples of what they're doing well to exhibit this core value? And that directly then impacts performance reviews, merit increases. I mean, that's how important those core values are to us. And what's wonderful is if you can join a company where their core values align with your personal values, then you've got a home run. And that's really how I felt when I joined Western. And they're not revolutionary core values. They're things like respect each other. If something's wrong, make it right. Um, uh, Improve someone's life. We talk about
Mm,
that just in, if I'm able to automate a report, I've just improved that person's life. Simple things like that. And really, that's how we make decisions. That's how we make hiring decisions. If people are not exhibiting core values, then they're not a member of the Western team, and we have to part ways. That's how important those core values are to us. So, if you want, that's why people like to do business with Western. We're consistent. We do what we say we're going to do. We're respectful in our dealings. We want to improve that vendor's life. We want them to sell more deals. We want our small businesses to be able to buy more equipment and do more business. Makes our whole economy. I mean, drives our whole economy. So, um, Western is that kind of company where once you join, if you're in alignment with the core values, there's no better place to work, in my opinion.
I'm sold. I mean, you don't need to sell me, but anyhow, it's like And based on what I know about the tenure of the employees that you have there, I could
Yes.
it definitely resonates.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, excellent, Kris. Well, I really appreciate your time today. It's always nice getting to know a little bit more about your background, even though we've known each other for a while. Getting dig in a little bit. So appreciate you sharing your experiences today. Congratulations on your success to date, and looking forward to seeing how things go in the future as well.
Well, really want to thank you for even asking me to be a participant in the Fireside Chats. I love our recent reconnection. We had just seen each other in passing, but I actually got to sit down and talk to you about what you're up to and what we're up to, and it's so exciting what's happening in the industry from a technology standpoint, and couldn't be more excited for the future and seeing what you're doing with Consult Disrupt. So I mean, how fantastic chance. And also a chance for me to reflect on my career, which people should do every now and then. It's a fun thing to be able to do when you've been in the industry a while and kind of feel refreshed to keep on hanging in and moving on.
Absolutely. 100%. And I'll put that as a testimonial too. So when I ask people to do these, I'm like, all right, come on, come on. So when I reach out to Lori, I'm gonna be like, come on, Lori, let's bring it back a little bit. Let's do
There
this.
you go.
Awesome, Kris. Well, I really appreciate your time today. Look forward to seeing you probably at the ELFA event over the next couple of months.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jesse.
No problem. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.